Hey, what is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, I see the comments. I see you all kind of getting a little nervous. I'm getting a lot of messages on the Patreon and stuff where people are just saying, Tyler, check out Solana. The price is falling. Should we be panicking? Should we be freaking out? Should I be selling? What are you doing? And so, of course, in today's video, I am just going to give you all what I'm looking at, why I'm not stressed out still. You guys do know that if I was to come on here stressed out or worried, that it would have to be something really catastrophic, because at this point, I've just kind of started to master the emotions of these things. I really don't get too emotional with it. I just continue to use the logic, and I start to use the charts to help me visualize my feelings, okay? And so what we're looking at right now is the falling of Solana's price. Again, we can see we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of 9 red days in the last 9 days. So of course that has led to a big pullback in the price, right? A lot of people are starting to see a lot of their Solana holdings starting to decline a good bit, and now the nerves are kicking in, okay? So what I do want to go ahead and say is I'm just going to get the bad out the way. I'm going to just talk about the bad, the possible not so good news for what we're looking at right now, and then we're going to get into why I'm not stressing, okay? So what we're looking at right now are the daily charts for Solana, and what we can see is that we have come back down to lose this 20 simple moving average on the daily charts. Of course, we do use this 20 simple moving average when we are analyzing the Bollinger Bands, of course, as it does create that Bollinger Band envelope. This 20 simple moving average is typically a very key level. So at the moment, it does look like we've come back down and lost that level, but are trying to establish some support on top of our 0.5, of course, swing low up to swing high up here. We can see we are trying to establish some support here. Now, typically speaking, when we do start to see the price falling below the 20 simple moving average, we will retest it. That is generally going to happen, okay? So definitely do look to see if a retest happens, but if we do start to close below $140, that's probably a good sign that the retest is not going to happen, and we may be looking at a continuation downward, right? Now, the reason I do believe this is just it's what history said, right? I mean, that's typically what will happen in history. So if we do go back up, we can see here the price gets extended, and once we lose that 20 simple moving average, as you can see here, we will come back down to retest the bottom of our Bollinger Band envelope. That typically happens, right? This is another great example. We come up off the bottom, touch the top of our Bollinger Band envelope, we start to lose it, we lose a key level of support right there, and then that leads to a fall down to the bottom of our Bollinger Band envelope. And we can see it happens every single time, okay? We come back up, boom, we're bouncing. Oh, there we go. We're bouncing, touch the top of this envelope. We then come back down to retest it. Boom, and as soon as we start to lose it, we recovered there, which was beautiful. But you can see the next time when we were unable to recover, we came back down to touch the bottom of the Bollinger Band envelope, okay? So we're definitely looking to see, let's get rid of all that stuff, but we definitely are looking to see that retest does happen, and that we would be optimally able to recapture this, right? If we start to come back down, establish support, boom, we want to see ourselves work above that. That would be optimal in order for us to continue our uptrend. But at the moment, of course, there's no knowing what exactly is going to happen. We just need to pay attention to it. So in terms of if you want this price to go up, you just need to be looking to see we hold above 140 at our 0.5, and we're able to recapture that 20 simple moving average. Now let me tell you why that even if the price is about to come back down to start to retest the bottom of our Bollinger Band envelope, which I think there's a fair chance that it will, why I'm not too worried about that, okay? I'm honestly not too nervous about that. So the reason I'm not too stressed about what we're seeing right now is because we've seen it multiple times already, right? You know, whenever we start to get nervous and we start to see the price falling, people are just very quick to say, this is it, it's going to zero, this project is done. There was a little bit of a blockchain problem that was caused by some network exhaustion, and everyone's going to associate that and equate that to the absolute end of Solana. And I'm just always here to be like kind of the voice of reason and all the nervousness and just say, we've seen this before. I mean, it happens all the time, okay? Now let me explain. So what we're seeing right now, of course, was a big impulsive move all the way up. And you guys do know that when I was making those videos saying, is it too late to buy Solana? Should you buy Solana now? I constantly reminded you that buying these things when the bus is going 80 miles per hour down the highway is always risky, okay? You never know at what given point the bus is going to go back to the bus station. So whenever we're buying these things, that's why it was so important that we were setting these stop losses during these moves up here as we went to capitalize on these trades, to capitalize on these gains, and to limit the amount of risk at which we were putting ourselves. And so now that we've seen something like this, we can start to be like, man, glad I set my stop losses, right? But what we're looking at right now isn't anything out of the ordinary. So what we saw was, again, the price starting to extend back upwards. We are then starting to realize, okay, we've not come back down to backtest support realistically at any given point throughout this entire thing. And what we all know is that when we're finding little resistance going up, we're going to find little support going back down. And so as the price is coming back down and smashing through some of these levels, it's not necessarily all that surprising, considering for a level like this one, for example, there was no resistance. We smashed through it on the dailies. But you see here, that once we found some resistance here, we're finding that same level of support here, okay? So when we're going up like this, we can anticipate that when it falls, it's going to fall just as hard. So now what we're talking about is where is it at? Like realistically, take the emotions out of it and look at where the price has gone to. All it's doing is retracing at the moment to its Fibonacci retracement levels. So as we can see right now is it's come back down to retest this 0.5. We've been sitting on this one for a good few hours now. I'd be very interested to see if we can hold this. But realistically, if we go look at the past, we've seen these interactions happen many times to show that this is natural, and it does not in any way, what we're seeing right now does not in any way mean that there is no chance for this price to continue upwards over the next few weeks or over the next few months, right? This does not equate to the end of Solana, okay? And that's why I'm not worried. Now what I mean by that is what we can see is that the price has done this before. We came swing low all the way up to our swing high. Now from there, as the price did fall, we fell all the way back down to at this time $22, but our 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level. From there, we established some support, continued back upwards, and entered into this triangle in which we were setting these higher lows and lower highs. From there, of course, we did have a breakout of the 786, another breakout of all of our key support levels that we did establish on the fibs, and from there, that led us to see, let's get rid of this, there we go. It led us to see a absolutely amazing climb back up to clear some new all-time highs, okay? Let's look at some more examples. Let's go to the beginning of these charts for Solana, right? Let's go back there we go. Let's look at the beginning of these charts. We came back up, we got incredibly extended off of our Bollinger Bands as we did see this happen before. Or just recently, we came back down, we lost that 20 simple moving average on the daily charts, retested the bottom of our Bollinger Bands, established some support on the 618, started to try to work our way back up, unable to re-clear our 20 simple moving average, and ended up having to ride that thing down, hitting our head on it until we were eventually able to clear it, of course. So from there, we did go to recover some of our different fib levels. Of course, we fell out of the 786 momentarily. We're able to recover it, bounce around this region, ended up working our way back up. And over time, as soon as we established enough support and got enough buying pressure, buying momentum, we were able to go back up and set some new highs. So realistically, what this goes to show is that historically speaking, when we get very extended off of the Fibonacci retracement levels and the daily Bollinger Bands, we're going to come back down to earth. We're going to come back down to earth. We've seen it happen multiple times, and there's no reason to believe that that's not what is happening right now. Yeah, this is a big fall, but this was a big climb. We never saw a massive run-up for Solana as we did here, and that's the reason we're seeing a bigger fall than we usually see. It's totally normal. That's how these things work. We've seen it time and time again, and my whole point of this video right now is just to say that it's normal. So my expectation is that if we are going to see this thing continue back upwards in the short term, what we need to see is a recovery of the 20 simple moving average. Once we get a green candle above it, that's a great sign that we may be looking at a continuation to the upside. Now, that's not something that will say that for sure we are going to go up all the way, but it is always a good first step in these movements, because you can see we recovered here, but that doesn't mean that it was time for us to work our way up. But once we were able to recover it and then clear some of our topside Fibonacci retracement levels, as we can see here, that's how it goes. So that's always the first step. It's not the only step, but it's always the first step and the first sign that we may be looking at a retest to start to work our way up, okay? So if we're going to see it go up, we just need to see that the 20 simple moving average is cleared. If we are going to go down, what that's probably going to look like, in my opinion, is a loss of $140. I think if we come back down to lose this 0.5, there's a good chance we're going to come back down to 122 and start to retest some of these levels. We can see here that our EMAs are still working their way up, so don't be surprised if we interact with the 50 EMA on the daily and the 0.618 fib level around the same time. So I would personally be expecting a possible fall somewhere to around 122 to maybe about let's see where this 50 EMA is at, to maybe about $110. I think that's still pretty likely, but do remember that as long as we stay above $96, we're all good. Even if we come back down below it a little bit, as long as we don't start to really lose this level and continue downwards, this is no big deal. What we are seeing is not a big deal. It happens. It's happened multiple times in the past, and it needs to happen in order for us to establish support, allow the bulls to cool down, let our bears get out or do whatever they want to do and cause a bunch of hate, and then work our way back upwards once people are ready, okay? Now, if the rest of the market does start crashing, if we start to see everything crashing, yeah, do expect that Solana is going to follow it. But if we saw the rest of the market start to turn around tomorrow, Solana will also follow it then, okay? So at minimum, we want to just see that the price stays above $96, which is the 786. Throughout both of those two big runs that we went over, the one back here and the one here, we didn't lose the 786 for an extended period of time without recapturing it, and so that's what I'm looking for. So I'm not getting concerned nor worried in any capacity until we lose $96. I know it's a big fall, but we've seen these falls and even bigger falls happen in the past, and that's why I'm just simply taking my emotions out of it and looking at the data, and the data says that this has happened before, and it is okay. So with that being said, once we do start getting some structure formed, or once we start to see the price actually making some type of patterns or anything that we can gauge breakout targets from, I will of course let you guys know ASAP. Keep an eye on $140 and keep an eye on this 20 simple moving average on the daily charts. Those are going to be two key indicators on whether or not we're going to continue down or continue upwards. And of course, tomorrow I will update you all as soon as we do get some more price movement. So I hope you all did enjoy today's video. I hope it does kind of help you calm down a little bit. I hope you do just realize that these things are natural and they are healthy for cryptos, and that going forward you are going to see many more of these, so you might as well start getting used to them. And with that being said, of course, I will see you all very, very soon. Peace.